And we're live. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very glad that you can make it. So, before we begin, can everyone see me? Can you hear us well? Okay, great. Thank you. So, let's wait a few more seconds. I believe people are still signing up and just joining us, having those coffee breaks quickly. Um, Meanwhile, you guys can drop in the comments where you guys are joining us from. And of course, we'd love you to like and subscribe to our Executive Automats YouTube channel. You'll find a few useful videos there as well. Okay, perfect. Just wait a few more seconds. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so let's begin. So I'm Pranavan Naidu. I'm from the Executive Automats team. Together with me is my colleague, Bartosz Biek, who is our product line manager. And we help customers secure the business processes through easy to use codeless testing automation solutions and to effectively manage their custom security role creation and, of course, reduce their license costs in Dynamics. That being said, let's kick off today's webinar, which is to reduce your Dynamics 365 FSCM license cost with custom security roles. Okay. So before we go to our agenda, just some housekeeping. So, of course, this is your webinar. Please, would love you to be as interactive as possible. Of course, the chat is on as well. I see you guys are busy on there as well. That's great. So please put your questions on there. We'd love to have those for later on our QA session. And so we're going to go into our agenda quickly. Okay, so our agenda for this webinar, we're going to have a introduction from myself just on security setup, and we're going to hand over to my colleague Bartosz, who's going to take us through how to reduce license cost and improve your user experience on process-based custom security roles. We're going to then go on to how to quickly create optimal roles in Dynamics 365 FSCM. And of course, we're going to look at how to approach security role creation projects to deliver quick success. Yeah. Okay, so that's the agenda. And last but not least, we're going to have a QA session. So that's going to be very, very exciting. We're looking forward to your questions there. Okay. Let's see, a few people are still joining us. That's great. All right, so let's talk about security setup. Executive Automats security setup addresses security role creation and helps you make everyday business processes into duties and roles. We basically say that this is a simple and easy to use tool that helps you decide precisely what privileges and access a user needs. And of course, that, my friends, is how we help you to reduce your license costs, right? In the average business, if you take an operations team, for example, how many people have just way too much access as such, in terms of what they don't need, or sometimes they have access that they'll never use. And that brings me to my next point, which is, why is this important to consider? Why is security an important aspect to consider? So as you might know, security configuration in Microsoft Dynamics AX365 FSCM is highly configurable. The end user has limitless options to restrict and grant access. And based on these factors, the whole process can be pretty daunting, really complicated, right? Our team for the last, I think it's 7 years, yeah, last 7 years has looked at approaching different security projects with a unique solution, um, a unique solution, sorry, that simplifies the role definition and limits the standard role usage. And with this in mind, we believe that this will significantly decrease the total cost of ownership of any D365 FSCM ecosystem, as well as the possibility of implementing SOX, the segregation of duties, and so on, right? Um, so now, after analyzing the ins and outs of challenging processes and a lot of brainstorming, as such, you can say, we came up with a few ideas, and we'd love to share this with you in a moment. Um, in practice, if you would look at beginning a security redevelopment project, for example, we approach it like this. You're going to consider focusing on some of the most common positions within the organization. That can be sales, finance, procurement, warehouse, and many others, right? And when we start this process, we basically will start with extracting the processes from these key roles and positions. After identifying and extracting the positions, we will then continue to build the security from them. It's like a layered approach, and Bart is going to explain this really beautifully. And the result that we're looking for is obviously to receive a pure result as such. And from that, of course, we have focused on process roles that are optimized for your user experience, data security perspective, and all of that. Most importantly, in this case, you're going to pay for exactly what you're using. Yeah. For these entry points or access points that you are making use of, so we've also factored in potential risks like fraud and data manipulation. So those are some of the concerns our customers were telling us. Essentially, when we manage these roles more efficiently, we almost have a laser precision on these and on these security roles, and therefore we then have this ability to hugely reduce your license cost on the dynamic side, right? So that's a little bit about security setup, but of course, the best is still coming. So it is my great privilege to hand the floor to Bartosz, who will unpack and elaborate further on some of the risks, the challenges, the value that is embedded in implementing correct security in the Dynamics ecosystem. So I think you guys can hear a little bit of thunder. I'm not sure, but Bart, over to you.
Thank you so much, Preston, for the intro. Hello, everybody, once again. Pleasure to have you. I'm going to just start the screen sharing, and we're going to walk you through some ideas. So, the result of many projects, many things we've done on the security level from 2009 to 2012 and FSCM. So, most of the concepts are still the same from the good old 2012. But yeah, on the screen you see Miro. This is the application we use for brainstorming, and we're going to use it also here today. We were doing some exercises, different clients to show the discrepancies. Discrepancies between using the standard roles and the custom roles. Well, actually, to invest in that. What are the advantages? Preston mentioned a few of those advantages, but I'm going to show you based on examples in the system and here on the brainstorming session. So we are considering here two situations. We've got Jackie and Harry, two people working in Dynamics, different processes. They've got different roles. One is sales representative. This comes from the standard APQC definition of what Microsoft did from the standard. And we've got also the custom sales representative role, a role which was built, we can say tailored way, exactly what you needed. processes: sales creation, customer creation, confirm, release, product view, direct delivery. Very simple stuff. So we can assume that these two people, they do the same job, but they are handling the same processes. On the left hand side, the company decided to use standard role, which as a result gave to Jackie 2047 entry points. Just for everybody, entry points is the smallest protocol of security, which gives you access to buttons, to table views, to list pages, reports, so on. So the goal was simple. Jackie needed to do these 5 processes. We can do shortcut, of course, 2047. If you're going to do a little bit more crazy approach and you're going to take sales manager for that person, you're going to end up with 3095 entry points. These are just counts we've done on the standard. If you're going to build that in the tailored way, so by recording each of these processes, you are able to sum up this to 21 entry points. So you can see the scale of the differences, about 10%. Of course, we can say that this was a major shortcut we've done because we took this on the role level. We can do the same on the duty level. We can do the same on the privilege level. So we can scale this. And at the end of the day, if we're going to spend some time on the standard, probably we'll be able to limit that to about 500 particles for 500 entry points, which still is too much. So this is about what you pay for. This is about how much you give if you don't do this exercise of security optimization. We took 2 screenshots, and on the left-hand side, this is the standard role, the user with standard role of sales representative. And this is what you see. You'll see some entry points here on the top on the sales tab. We've got a vision of what sales representative gives you. On the right-hand side, we've got simplified with tailored one role. So we ask precisely, our user wants to have confirmation right. So this is what she got. Plus, there are some standards which are sort of attached out of the box, which you don't have so much power to, from the out of the box, you don't have so much power to limit them. Of course, there is a possibility, but needs another development. So simply saying, this is the optimized interface. And considering the fact of the user optimization and the clean UI, the way how users are learning about the tool, about the finance and operations, this is very effective. If you are using standard, the user who will log in into the system will be distracted by multiple items, multiple buttons on each form, on each screen. In good old 2012, 2009, you had those small pictograms, small graphics, which gave you the idea what is this about. In here, the aesthetic look of the user interface gives you that mixing a little bit. And if you are learning about dynamics, if you are teaching the users, if they try to understand, this might cause some problems in the learning curve. People are just taking much more time to learn the system. When it is simplified, it is better to understand. And of course, data defraudation, less access you've got, less sort of verified functionalities you've got, then the users, they don't have possibility to extract some data. Plus, some functionalities might be not delivered yet. They might be bugged. So this is also some leverage, some secure mechanisms for you to use the system in the right way that you expected. So this is about reducing the license cost. I'm going to jump into the system to show you the exact how this look like, how to create the roles, and so on. But just before I'm going to do that, I would like to invite you highly to the trials. And Preston will tell you a bit how to do the trial, how to apply to it. This is free of charge for 2 weeks' time. You can browse the system, pick all those particles in one place, verify if this approach works for you. And if yes, you will just gain a lot of benefits. Preston, the stage is yours for a moment.
Absolutely. Super easy to do. We ask our users to give us the was it preview? Yeah. So the Dynamics preview, and it's basically your platform version and your your environment version. And from there, it's just literally we take this, create this deployment package for you. The trial is for 2 weeks, and so you get a nice 2 weeks to play around with the tool. And what I'm going to also do is I'll just drop in the comments my meeting link. So if you guys would like to find out any more details or information, you guys can obviously just feel free to drop me chat. Yep, cool.
All right. Thank you so much, Preston, for sharing that. I'm going to bring back my screen, and let's jump into the application. So on the screen, what you see right now is the major cockpit of executive automates for security setup. On the left-hand side, we are building the organization structure. What does it mean? We want to identify and extract all positions in the organization, bring them down into the hierarchy, like a departments level or work streams, workflows. However you're going to try to organize your company, it will be good, because then underneath every department and every other group, you can group your users by a sales manager or sales specialist. The overall idea is to limit number of roles to the minimum, so you've got less to maintain and you are able to quickly optimize, quickly adjust existing roles. On the left-hand side, we've got an example of sales department and sales specialist. Sales specialist, when you go deeper into the detail, you will see here that we've got duties and job tasks. This means that our sales specialist is right now handling 5 processes. Each of those lines, they are defining one responsibility that they are carrying. So sales creation, customer creation, PM product review, sales confirmation, and some journals. So if you click on the AP journal, you will see just below that for that process, you need this specific entry point with specific access level, which means for this process, I need read, update, create access without delete and invoke or correct, just these 3. This is what process gave us. The same thing for sales confirm. I can go down and see there are some elements, action items and display items I need to provide access to my user so they will be able to perform this specific business process. So what you are doing, you are extracting business processes, you're listing them, converting, and then you can create the role, which will automatically bring those all, build the duties, build the privileges behind. So everything is done for you, and then you are able to apply this to our user. We were doing some very nice exercise of walking through the user with limited access. I will just bring back this session to you, so you're going to see once more the limited access. So in the result, you are able to give the very precise access. The identification of the level is limiting the view access only, so I don't have the chance to delete, to click new, or edit existing values. This is all what you can exactly browse. Sales confirm, the same thing we were walking through. In that case, we've got creation, so these buttons are available, but on the other hand, I can't delete. So you can be very precise, and this puts your the complexity and puts a lot of effort you have to put to know exactly what you need. And that identification of the security context from those each lines gives you that easiness, because the system is doing that automatically for you. If we are considering creation person like procurement analyst, we can load those processes once again from task recording. So I can browse from existing recording from my system. I've created some of those for one of the programs with client, and I can simply take one of those and then tell the system to include table permissions, controls permissions, and we are just loading here on the list one process the person will handle. So this is the task recorder way. Of course, you can record your own custom one. They are available here, so task recording can be quickly identified. And if you would like, and if you've got executive automats, the test automation software, you can connect to your instance and browse for your existing processes. So system loads, connects to the executive automats, and gives me the possibility to load in here multiple processes from what we've got recorded for our regression testing. So if I'm going to click load, include table permissions and control permission once again, system will give us another line. And this also identifies the security context. The only thing which is left is to create a duty for each of these lines and then build a role. Let's do that. Let's create the first duty for SO create D1, and let's create a duty for our task recording, also covering list pages, workflow status, workflow drop dialog, and create duty for this. Two duties created. Then I can switch to the top and create new role. Proc analyst. Right after that, system creates the role, automatically publishes that, and then we can move forward to another role, another user, by creating this whole security layer for your organization. So you have to just repeat all of these steps for all of your organizations, and this will be quite a simple way to accomplish that. We've got the proof record of delivering full security projects within 2 months' time, within 2 people, 2 consultants, and of course, asking business users or business process owners for help. We were able to accomplish pretty big projects around that. This approach also gives you the unique chance to create some branch roles. I mean by this, if you've got multiple legal entities, this might be very convenient. Of course, aside of this functionality of creation, we've got some reports focusing on licensing cost, your total cost of your each user. So you are able to identify that from scratch to see how does it look like, who is the most costful resource, where I can make some optimizations. Yeah, let's jump into the another topic, which is how to create security role creation, how to approach security role creation project to deliver quick success. And for that, I prepared for you another another graphics, which are simplifying the whole procedure. So this is some kind of a repetition of what we said today, but this will show you how to approach this and how easy it is. So you do the process distribution. So you build your hierarchy. You do the process identification by lining them up underneath each of your roles, each of specific departments. Then you are recording each of these processes in Task Recorder or Executive Automates if you've got them. Then you are doing process to conversion to security. So you are building duties out of that. Then you are able to do SOX compliance. You are able to build the segregation of duty logic. After creation of the security, you are doing the first level license check. So when you are considering, if you are thinking about your organization, and if you're going to find out which role is the most common, let's say we've got the most sales representatives, let's say 60 or 100 users, we can act on that specific role to limit license. We don't need to give that person basic license, the basic finance or basic project. If by this exercise we're going to realize that salesperson has some attachments from the project or finance area, we might limit that. So we're going to have straight impact on the TCO of your organization, of your TCO of your system. So the first level optimization check gives you the feeling, are we actually good? Should we repeat that process? Then our recommendation is to have the UAT security environment. This means that you've got one environment close to the UAT. It might be a copy of the UAT, but dedicated only for security. So this is the place where you are asking the users to jump in, they check, and they are making with you reiterations if they're going to find the gaps. If they will approve, they will accept the test of the security and tell you that the role that you created for them with the process approach is exactly what they expected and needed to perform their daily tasks. You can simply build the layer for the security. Using the standard functionality, import and export, you can build the layer and then transfer that to the production. And then you are actually switching to the next position and building that reiteration around. So you are circling that back on every of those roles. So on UAT security, everybody is verifying how the system works, if it is acceptable from the access perspective. and then you are able to build that whole image. Yeah. So this is more like a concept for what we see, which works, which gives you a quick win, which gives you a lot of value without opening up Visual Studio, which gives you a lot of value without creating some advanced code permissions or RLSs, which are more like XDSs, because XDSs are only possible in FSCM. This will give you an optimization from the license perspective, from the data perspective, data security perspective, and also the user experience, the way how users are working with the system. Aside of these functionalities to create the rows, we've got also a lot of functionalities to help you analyze what else is missing. So we've embedded some extra functionalities underneath standard controls. So you see more information about entry points hidden on the tabs. You are able to see also the context of the security on every form. There's a lot of to show you, but to make this simple, to make this session more orientated on the business problem rather than this functionalities, we're gonna move quickly to the Q&A to simply solve some problems to give you some more ideas what else you can do. And all these functionalities regarding the TCO verification, regarding the context verification of security, we can walk you through them through the trial. So you're going to see this on your instance, on your examples, and it will make your this whole explanation process much more easier. So thank you so much for your attention till now. Preston, the stage is yours, and yeah, you can pass us to the Q&A section.
Well, hello again, everyone. So let's go ahead and answer some of these fantastic questions. I am going to see. Oh, okay. So let's look at the first one that I had was from Paul. Hello, Paul. So Paul asks, does this trial start as soon as it is created or when you open it?
So the trial package has its own expiry date. So if we're gonna talk about the system, if you're gonna talk about with you that you're gonna start on Monday, and we are creating for you previous week the package, we are just dating that Monday plus 2 weeks, and when the date of the expire will come, it will simply be not usable anymore. System will just wait for the end date, and then when you are having a full product, we are just updating the license, so the limitation just goes away.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, and then I see a few questions here on building security layer. Okay, let's just see. Okay, Simon Bradford, hello. He asks, are the security objects auto exported from the task recorder and added to the role?
Are security objects auto exported? So we are indeed exporting from the task recording the context of the entry points. This is not only the standard definition. We've got our own mechanisms which are giving the broader context of what security access you went through. And of course, then you've got your choice. It is not automatically added to the role. It is added to the duty. And then you've got the possibility to play with it, and add that to another duty and merge it, and then give it to the role. So there are some actions you have to follow, but we are simplifying the process to the level that you will not destroy your security layer so easily. This is more like a stages and confirmation process.
Okay, wonderful. And then I have Agnieszka. Yes, Agnieszka. Agnieszka, hello. She asks, what about the code permissions and limitation to field level in the security system?
That's an interesting question, actually. So there is a layer. That's why we are talking about always about the complexity and easy to start methodology. If you would like to do quick win and optimize the security without digging into detail, with limiting the fields. It will be very quick and effective, and you're going to spend 2 months. Then after you've done the security layer and you are complete with that, you are able to move for another stage. But this stage with limitation to the specific fields is just the moment where you have to sort of rely on developers. Developer need to apply the code permissions on the field. The setup configuration, the security setup configuration we've created gives you the possibility to understand what code permission was created and apply that to the user. But these elements of development, they need to be done by developers because they are changes to the code itself. So this is the place where there is no chance it has to be the Visual Studio. We can't hear you, Preston.
I'm back.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I see Darnika asks a question about creating a security layer, or building the security layer. Um, just a second. So possibly we would showcase this on the demo in further detail. But Bart, maybe you want to
Okay,
share.
so how we create the security layer? Let me just add to the stream my screen for a moment. For that, we are using the standard functionality, and in finance and operations, all of your security changes, they are saved in the tables. So that's a very typical thing and a very easy thing to do when it's come to move around the security layer between the environments. Just by the standard import and export functionality, you are able to take the data, to take the security layer you created, and move it from the UAT security to dev, or from dev to the release, or to any other environment. You can actually export that and keep it aside as the security layer with the version. So this is something which is very easy to maintain. This is something which you can very easy use on your environment. Aside of that, there are some standard functionality from our end where you can actually export and import your whole security creation configuration, which can be also moved between environments. But mostly we are trying to rely on standard when it comes to the movement of the security layer, and this is something we're going to recommend to use.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answers your question, Darnika. I'm gonna go for another one from Natashka. Natashka asks, could you show us you showed the TCO license report in a LinkedIn video. Can you walk us through it once again?
Okay. Yeah. So indeed, we had lately a quick explanation. I wanted to do that on the trial sessions, but if you would like, I can quickly just walk you through the security report that we created. In the settings of our system, you are able to define your partner license rates. So you can set your rates which are delivered by your partner, and then by those rates you can calculate your total cost of the licenses based on any period. So to understand where you are at, and just this one, security licenses. And based on that, you are able to analyze this perspective of the cost and analyze the perspective of savings. So this is a quick summary of how many type of licenses you've got. So number of different basic finance, FSCMs, commerce, project, team members, activity, and the attachment itself. I can also see which user has which attachment. So we have Cassie with finance, SCM, project, and the user license. The base we pay for is the basic finance. And this is just a quick verification and the summary. You can make some math here. You can make a quick verification that, let's say, Cassie is working only in supply chain, so in the warehouse only. So why the heck that person has the project? You can find out these small problems based on which you can make savings. So this is some kind of an analytical cockpit where you can build that, rebuild after changes, and then verify. On the security summary element, we are doing even more. We are identifying based on the roles the reason why CRM marketing coordinator is a basic SCM license. So we are able to verify here based on every entry point which is added to the specific person, why that person has such a high license. And this is why this is important to have less rows in the system, because if you have less rows, it will be easier for you to optimize that and easier to answer and justify that this person needs to have the basic SCM. If you would like to do then verification on the processes, so I know that the person is basic SCM, but I would like to understand why exactly, which duty, which process makes that person a basic SCM license. I'm able to do that based on the duty level. So smaller groups, less items, and again, you've got that question: should I make this optimization for 60 users in the system, which will give me about $6,000 per month saving, versus should I have should I delegate responsibility from those 60 users to one person who will be just cheaper choice for me, and that person will perform all of those 60 sort of some small part of the process, and then we have change to the procedure, change to the business process. Of course, that's some kind of a corner case, but this always gives you that option. Sometimes it is impossible to optimize that, but sometimes there is an option to do that. So this is about the TCO and root cause analysis of your role license and cost. Okay, moving
Okay,
forward.
thank you. All right, Danica, I hope that also answers your question. I have a question from Rafal. Uh, so Rafal has actually two great questions, but we'll do the first one. Bartosz, how do you migrate securities around different environments? And his second question was, how do you manage security based on objects, tables, and forms, etc.? Is this doable? So let's do the
Okay,
first question.
so the first one we already actually explained by the import and export from the standard. In 2012, it wasn't so simple. In finance and FSCM, due to this new functionality, it's a bit more predictable, and then moving the layer with that file, because this is just XML file create, is quite simple. So I would say that should cover the topic. If not, Rafa, just let us know over the comments so we can follow back on this. Regarding the second question, the managing of the base security objects, tables, and forms. Yeah, this element, if you are, I'll once again add to the stream my screen. When you are extracting your security context from particular business process, you will see that we are adding here display items, menu items, everything which was created on some of those processes. You will notice that we are also giving here form controls. Plus, we are also giving context of the form controls plus tables. It's just the matter of how you import. In that case, we've got EcoRisk product details extended. So there is a system automatically identified some lower form control on your recording, and it added it automatically to your duty. If you were loading processes, you have to just highlight that you want to include some low code elements like controls, forms, tables, and some more things like server methods and elements which are more hidden. So these elements are important when you are importing your process into the system, and then it is done automatically. Of course, we are not able to help you if developer if developer is hiding his entry point name in the class or method, so which is not a best practice, but sometimes it is done. So we can't do a lot about that, but in most of the cases, we are helping ourselves with the functionality to cover gaps. But this we're going to talk about maybe on the trials, because we've got some nice functionalities to help you out to prevent opening up the Visual Studio on your security setup journey.
Thank you. So, Rafal, hope that answers your question. I have another one here from Johan. Johan asks, is there any report that can show which or how many FNO license are needed from the custom security roles. Example from the demo, which finance and operations license is needed for the custom role you're created or you are creating. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. We don't have like out of the box report which will have this sort of idea behind to find out where we are using the standard. We could by changing some filters and queries, we could already use something which is in the system to find it out for you. But I think this kind of report doesn't exist now. What we are doing mostly, I mean, the method, the approach we are trying to push very often is actually helping us out in that case. So we don't need to watch this so intensively where we are using the custom roles. We are trying to focus on the bigger pain in the system. But indeed, if you're going to be interested, I can find out for you some queries which can answer these questions for you, because this is just something we need to filter on one of the reports we have out of the box.
Okay. And I see Rafael has two questions here. Let's just go on the first one. Rafael asks, can we check insecurity within version control so it can be deployed in different environments? And the
Mm-hmm.
second question is, does the EA work outside of the D365? Can it be utilities within different web-based platforms? Okay, so let's see
Sure.
the first one.
If I understand the second question exactly, this is dedicated for FSCM only. So this is the add-on we've got into deployed by deployable package. So this is the part of Dynamics.
Mhm.
This is not like an independent site as Executive Automats is. So this is some different approach. And due to the fact that we are operating on standard of the system and standard of table security sort of generation, there is no possibility to those security roles and duties and these security setups that we create. They are not longer part of the AOT. They are part of the tables itself. That's why we are doing the XML transmission. So this is the way or reason why we are not applying this to the version control. Um, we are thinking about conversion to the actual AOT code elements, but this doesn't have so many sort of advantages over that dynamic code generation, entity table generation.
Okay, and I see we have a question from Alok. Alok asks, do you have any success stories from the D365 FNO customers on saving license costs using this tool?
Hmm.
Great
Sure.
question.
Yeah, that's a great question. We're gonna record soon some case studies with our customers, so this will be very nice to finally see how the projects are delivered, and that there will be real people talking about the successes. From very nice examples, the customer from Austria, they were able to decrease the sales representative position by they dragged that from over 2 or 3 attachments. They were able to limit this to the basic SCM only. So this actually gave them 3 times $15 times number of employees per month, and this was a very nice example. And this was done just at a glance. Um, and simply saying this was one example, and more examples or more focus, because we are delivering this to one of the biggest brands in retail. We can't tell the name due to the NDAs, but they are focusing mostly on simplicity of security creation for different entities and simplicity of the way how UX works. So we're gonna have few nice case studies around this simplification, but from the cost exact numbers, From the company of Austria, we see that they are saving right now about 20% of TCO of entire sort of security layer. So I can't tell you the exact number in some currency as yeah, we haven't received that yet. But this was more likely 20%.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I have three more questions. I think we're going to take a few more questions and then we are going to wrap up. So let's go for Martin.
Mhm.
Martin asks, can this be used with Dynamics 365 Talent?
Talent. Huh. That's a good question. We haven't touched talent yet. I thought actually talent was already outdated. I mean, HR. I mean, there was one of the modules of Dynamics which they put away. I will need to check that. To be honest, we didn't have any project on talent yet. But if talent has task recordings, and it is some kind of a pod or the same structure of SCM, it should work. Martin, we can check that for you, but I don't have now any instance of talent on dev, so we might need to meet and try if you are interested.
Okay. And then there's two questions from Darnika. Darnika asked the first question, with export import security option, is it only possible to export or import whole security configuration, not the specific role?
The import of security option, is it possible to export all security? Yeah, I mean, exactly. You are taking with import export security option, you are taking everything. Yeah, you are taking, we can say, every customization to what you've done to the system from the security perspective. So you are taking 100%. Actually, it is harder to get to take just one row. It is much more easier to take everything that you have modified to the security, and move it around your environment cycle. Yeah.
And second question was, would it be better to use data projects and entities for specific roles, or is there another way?
Uh, Data entities. Yeah. Um, I don't think that we need to. I mean, probably yeah. We could make it that way, and then you could make some specific query on the naming, and then make a row level extraction. Sure, that we could work on that. But I don't think that is needed. From the transferring of the security layer, it works probably. I mean, it works very good. You don't need to be. You don't need to make a big science around that. But I mean, that's an option. I would love to try it out as well. We haven't done it yet. Being honest, we haven't used data entities around that. We are using data entity more for data migration strategy and testing, but not for security yet. I see also that Martin confirmed that it has the same structure, FNO. Yeah, so we can test it out. It will be very nice to see.
Okay, thank you, Alok. And Rafal says thanks. Alok says thanks. Yeah, so let's look at any more questions.
We've got also Johan with
Oh,
the
yeah.
RLS. As we are, I mean, we are having the same product for Dynamics AX 2012, but we are not recording our RLSs. In finance and supply chain management, there is no more RLS. It was the XDSs are changing this, and due to the fact that the XDSs are quite coded, we are not touching this. So you are building your security structure. You are delivering this to your UAT security project. When this is signed off, you can make a reiteration on the XDSs, and you can make a reiteration on the code permission. So I would say this is the top and the cherry on your cake when you've done all of the needed exercises around the security.
All right. Do you see any more questions here? Let's see.
I don't think so. Anyway, yeah, we'll be able to follow up
Yeah,
on your
absolutely.
questions, and we can write some responses over the chat. So yeah,
So, all right. So, if there are any more questions, please, let us know. Also, you'll see that our contact details will come through now. Um, so, thank you guys so much for joining us. And yeah, we're looking forward to the next webinar to see you guys all there. And of course, our contact details will be available on the website and the link. So feel free to, again, comment, like, and subscribe our Executive Automats YouTube channel. And so see you next time. Thank you so much.
cheers, thank you.